Okay, so picture this.
Mm-hmm.
BlackRock,
Yeah.
the biggest asset manager, like globally.
Yeah.
They put out this report, right? 9 pages, all about Bitcoin.
Wow.
But, and this is the kicker, it's aimed specifically at their super wealthy clients.
So, like, we're talking
Millionaires,
little
billionaires.
rollers only?
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, because it's not just about, oh, Bitcoin 101.
Right.
This is a glimpse into how the folks who really move markets are thinking about money. Like,
The future of money.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's why this matters, even if you're not, swimming in cash yet.
Right.
This report, it's like a signal flare.
Oh, interesting.
When BlackRock makes a move like this, Wall Street really pays attention.
So it's almost like we get to peek behind the curtain,
Like,
see what the playbook is.
yeah, for sure.
So what are they actually saying?
Right.
Well, they call Bitcoin, get this, an unclassifiable asset.
Interesting.
It's not a stock.
Right.
It's not a bond. It's not a commodity, at least according to them.
Ah,
It's its own thing.
okay.
And they really hone in on 2 things: decentralization
Yeah.
and scarcity.
Makes sense. It's playing right into, like, their clientele.
Exactly.
This desire for, like, stability, being in control, especially these days,
With everything so uncertain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With Bitcoin, there's no central bank. There's
Yeah.
no government calling the shots.
It's like this whole other system.
Exactly. It's a way to diversify outside of that traditional system. So it's like, instead of just your stocks and bonds, now some of these, ultra wealthy folks are looking at Bitcoin as a way to protect what they've got.
Totally.
Almost like,
A safe haven.
yes, a modern day one.
Yeah.
Like a digital gold or something.
Exactly. They actually draw a direct parallel to gold.
Oh, wow.
Limited supply. That potential for, like, price increases over time.
Right.
It's that same idea.
Hedging against what? Inflation.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's interesting. They're not saying, like, ditch everything else and go all in on Bitcoin.
Right.
It's more about,
Strategy.
strategically adding it to the mix.
That's all about the mix.
Right.
You got to have that balance.
But here's where I thought it got really interesting.
They use this phrase. They call Bitcoin an uncorrelated asset.
Yeah. Okay.
Which at first I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, it sounds jargony.
But they're basically saying is that Bitcoin's price doesn't necessarily move in the same direction as, say, the stock market.
Right. It does its own thing.
Exactly. So, like, if the market takes a hit, potentially, Bitcoin could weather the storm, maybe even go up.
And it's happened before, Think back to 2008.
The crash.
Yeah, or even some of the, like, crazy geopolitical stuff that's been happening recently.
Right.
Bitcoin held its own.
Interesting.
Sometimes even thrived when the traditional markets were, like, totally freaking out.
Wow.
So
So BlackRock is basically saying, hey, this could be your buffer.
yeah.
Like a way to mitigate the losses when other stuff in your portfolio might be struggling.
Yeah, and I think that's why they're choosing to highlight that for this particular audience.
Because these are the folks who are really concerned about that.
Exactly.
But this is starting to feel like more than just, investment advice.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's this deeper layer here.
Totally.
Like they're trying to almost make a statement.
Oh, I think it's very strategic.
Yeah.
This is BlackRock. They're not messing around.
Right.
This feels like positioning themselves for a future where this stuff, these digital assets, they're not just some fringe thing anymore.
They're mainstream.
They're becoming mainstream, and BlackRock wants to be at the forefront.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why release this report now?
Mm-hmm.
What's the game plan here, do you think?
Right. Well, I think one way to look at it is they're trying to, like, legitimize Bitcoin
Okay.
for those big institutional investors.
Right, the ones with the really deep pockets.
Exactly. Because, let's be honest, a lot of those folks, they're still,
Hesitant, a little hesitant, yeah.
to jump into the whole crypto thing.
Exactly.
It's still kind of like the Wild West to them.
Right. But when BlackRock comes out and says, hey, this Bitcoin thing, it's worth another look.
Yeah.
That carries some serious weight.
Because they're the ones managing trillions, right?
Trillions, with a T.
It's like, if it's good enough for them, maybe us regular investors should at least be paying attention.
Right, exactly.
Huh. Okay, so it's kind of a stamp of approval, almost.
In a way, yeah.
It's interesting.
And remember, this report we're talking about, it's for their clients.
Right.
It's all about, attracting new money, showing them, hey, we get it, we understand this new world.
So you got to speak the language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if even a tiny fraction of BlackRock's clients
Yeah.
decide, okay, let's put a little bit in this Bitcoin thing,
Suddenly you've got
a tidal wave.
a tidal wave of new investment.
Exactly.
Wow.
And here's the other thing about BlackRock.
Yeah.
They're strategic, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really strategic.
Oh, yeah.
They're not known for chasing the latest fad.
They're ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this report,
Yeah.
this could be them making a power move, cementing their place at the top.
As this whole digital asset world keeps growing. Exactly. Exactly. They want to be the ones calling the shots. Yeah.
Fascinating. So it's almost like BlackRock is putting a stake in the ground,
Totally.
saying, this is the future and
Yeah.
we're leading the charge.
100%. But I think even beyond BlackRock and their motivations,
Yeah.
there's something much bigger happening here.
Okay.
This whole thing hints at a massive shift, like a fundamental change.
In how the financial system works.
Exactly. Think about it. For
Yeah.
decades, it's been all about these big centralized institutions,
Yeah,
right?
the banks, the governments, all that.
Exactly. They've been in control.
Right.
But then along comes Bitcoin, and all of a sudden,
It's a different story.
totally different story. It's a whole other way to, like, store value,
Yeah.
to move money around without borders.
And potential.
And potentially, yeah, more resilient, especially with all the craziness happening in the world.
With all the uncertainty.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a challenge.
a challenge to the old way of doing things.
That's a Brecht challenge.
Wow. Okay. So BlackRock's report, it's not just about some hot new investment.
Right. Much bigger than that.
It's like we're seeing a glimpse of what the future of finance might look like.
And that's why this matters.
Yeah.
Even if someone's sitting there thinking, Bitcoin, that's not for me.
Right.
Understanding these bigger trends,
Yeah.
that's what's crucial for navigating the years ahead.
Because who knows what's coming next?
Exactly. The world's changing fast.
That's for sure.
And if BlackRock's right, the way we think about money, investing,
Yeah.
the whole global economy, even.
Yeah. It could be completely different and pretty soon.
Okay, so much to think about.
Right.
So we've got BlackRock making this big move, putting out this report. We've got these bigger trends about the future of finance, like swirling around.
Yeah. It's a lot to unpack.
It really is.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back down to earth a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about you, the listener.
Right.
What are the key takeaways here, and why should you care about all of this?
Well, for me, one of the things that really jumped out from this whole BlackRock thing
Yeah.
was this idea of diversification, you know?
Classic advice for a reason. Right.
Exactly. And it's funny because, in a way, this report is like BlackRock telling their super rich clients to do the same thing that, like, you know,
Right, that any financial advisor would tell.
any regular person.
I do.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think that's worth paying attention to because
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in the, oh, BlackRock is saying Bitcoin.
Right, like this is my ticket.
Exactly. But at its core, this is still about managing risk.
Being smart.
Being smart, exactly. And thinking long term.
Right, and so even if, like, Bitcoin isn't your thing,
Mm-hmm.
this broader idea, right,
Mm-hmm.
of not just relying on the same old stocks and bonds.
Yeah, looking beyond the traditional stuff.
Exactly. That's something we should all be thinking about.
100%. The world is changing, and our ideas about investing, about money itself.
They've got to change, too.
Exactly. This whole report, it's a perfect example of
Yeah.
that. Like, the lines are getting blurry, right?
Between the old way and this new digital world.
Exactly. And that can be exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
But it also means you've really got to stay informed.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Do your research, challenge your own assumptions.
Don't just follow blindly because BlackRock made a move.
Exactly. In fact, I'd almost say
It's even more important to be, like, critical.
be critical 100%. Think for yourself.
Right.
Because at the end of the day,
It's your money.
it's your money, your financial future.
No one's going to care about as much as you do.
Exactly. So yeah, this BlackRock report, it's fascinating.
Oh.
It's a glimpse into like the big leagues of finance.
Yeah, the people playing chess while we're playing checkers.
Something like that. But ultimately,
It's up to each of us
yeah,
to figure out what this new world means for us.
well said. And I think that's a good place to leave it for today.
It really is. So much to think about.
As always. But hey,
Until next time,
happy diving, everybody.
happy diving.